let's start with the general program outline. As co-chair mentioned, it starts in Parliament, and then by 8:30 a.m., we expect all guests except VVIPs who are attending the inauguration at the Independence Square to be seated by 8:30 a.m. The activities starting from arrival will start right after 8:30 a.m. and the main activity starts at 10. Subsequent to the inauguration at the Independence Square, there will be a banquet at the State House at 1 p.m. for the President, the Vice President, and the invited guests. That's strictly by invitation. They will be hosting the visiting dignitaries and heads of state to a banquet at the State House. At 6 p.m. at the Presidency, invited guests from all walks of life will join the President and the Vice President and the First Family for a cocktail at the Presidency. At 8 p.m., His Excellency the President and the Vice President will host the visiting heads of state to a dinner, again at the Presidency. There will be a musical concert dubbed a One Ghana concert at the Independence Square at 10 p.m. on the night of the inauguration. We kindly ask all guests who are attending events that require invitation to please carry their invitations along to make it easier for them to be admitted into these perimeters and to avoid any difficulties with security persons. The second issue we want to address is the issue of accommodation and transportation. Accommodation and transportation for the heads of state is being handled by national security. We cannot provide any further details on that because they are security matters. On transportation generally, no vehicles will be admitted beyond the Accra International Conference Center, the Osu Cemetery traffic lights, the 28th February roads traffic lights, and then the SEPS traffic lights. No vehicles will be admitted beyond those points except for vehicles with accredited transportation tax. And I'll provide details of which vehicles we are talking about shortly. Members of Parliament, for example, will park at Parliament House and will be chauffeured there. There will be other transportation arrangements for other subgroups as follows. Holders of red car accreditation tags, which would include heads of state and government delegations, will have access to the Independence Square for parking. Holders of blue accreditation tags, which include guests of the President and the Vice President, will have access. Green tags, which includes chiefs, senior politicians, statesmen, and women from across the political divide, will get access. Holders of yellow tags will have access to parking at the Accra Sports Stadium, and then they'll be chauffeured there. Holders of black stickers will be given access to parking at the Ifwa Sutherland Children's Park, and they will also be chauffeured there. There will be buses available at the stadium, the Children's Park, as I mentioned, to chauffeur guests to the Black Star Square. So we ask everybody to kindly comply to make transportation easier. The police and the MTT unit will be on standby to provide assistance. The next thing I want to talk about is grounds and events. First of all, as we speak currently, preparation of structures are on track to be completed by close of business on Wednesday to allow for rehearsals. The rehearsals are starting today. The dress rehearsals themselves will start on Thursday, and the final dress rehearsals will be on Friday. Now, at the Independence Square, there will be 3 perimeters: the inner perimeter, the middle perimeter, and the outer perimeter. Members of the general public will be admitted to the outer perimeter. Those are the big stands that you see at the Independence Square. It can accommodate over 6,500 people comfortably seated in those stands. It's open to the general public for seating. The middle perimeter will be reserved for the media and other logistical service providers who will be working on the day. And it is accessible strictly by accreditation. And so for our friends in the media, currently we have received your request for accreditation. The National Security Agency would deal with you subsequently to take photographs so that you can be admitted into the middle perimeter to do the very good job that you do for us. The inner perimeter will take, first of all, 6,000 guests of the state in this inner perimeter. Additionally, it will seat 350 guests of the President, the Vice President, service chiefs, and other dignitaries who've been invited. There would also be another stand for international VVIPs who are joining us. Former ministers, diplomats, and MMDCs in the previous NPP administration will be accommodated in the Independence Arch, and ministers, diplomats, and MMDCs in the outgoing administration will be accommodated in the guest gallery of the makeshift Chamber of Parliament that is being provided at the Independence Square. Initial days, then there's a makeshift parliamentary chamber and guest gallery there. There are also 2 VVIP stands, as I mentioned. Those are all in the inner perimeter, and again, we plead with you, it's strictly by accreditation. The media, as I mentioned, is being provided with a huge media quarter just behind the parliamentary chamber. This is to facilitate your interviews and other things that you need to do to make your work smooth on the day. But we implore you that access to the inner perimeter is prohibited, is only granted to persons with the necessary accreditation. But to facilitate your work, we will be providing 1 master audio feed in the media quarter. It will be provided so that all radio and social media and other digital media platforms that seek audio feed can tap into it. Then you don't have to run around laying cables and having difficulties with the security persons. And again, we ask you to kindly cooperate with us. There will also be 1 master television feed from the inner perimeter for closed shots fed onto the bench in the press quarter that you can tap into. Other than that, you are again at liberty to do your production and have your OB vans, etc. from that media quarter. Madam Ayoko-Bocho has mentioned the dignitaries we're expecting. Finally, let me speak about security. Our friends from National Security and the security agencies are providing us with about 5,000 men and women drawn from various security agencies, military, police, national security, etc. As we mentioned, access to the various circles will be strictly on accreditation basis, and we ask people who are coming in to expect some sort of screening in the light of the times in which we live, and to kindly cooperate with the security agencies during these screening exercises. No offensive weapons are allowed anywhere near the perimeters that we are talking about. Security will be on very high alert, and so we are asked to inform all persons who have nefarious intentions to desist from it, because security will have to deal with you very firmly. And finally, for the media, commentary will be provided from the event location prior to the handing over to Parliament. It's a parliamentary event, so prior to Parliament commencing its activities, commentary will be provided. But once the call goes out, Mr. Speaker, and then there's a rise for Parliament to start, we will hand over or cede everything to Parliament. For media houses that seek to do commentary, we kindly ask you to engage with the media subcommittee so that you can get access to the briefs, to get a detailed understanding of the various things that are going on to facilitate your commentary that you'll be running. Broadly, these are the outstanding matters that I would like to discuss with you.